Both of these are aspects of our universe. Better to say, composite parts of our reality. All of our universe will be the same age. Expand, I think. The V particle creates the fuzz of the wave function, the speed unknown at this time. Our reality is the white hole connected to the black hole. Now, when I say this, it's how I described earlier, that the particle falls into the black hole. It's captured in the center, and the only place it can bulge out is in the space particle. When it bulges out in the space particle, it can't go in a straight line because it's trapped by the gravitational restraint of this black hole. And that spot that it's constrained in is everywhere in the space particle, which means all gravity that would rip you apart is canceled in that area. And it's similar to being in the bottom of a pool. It's covered and you can't get out. So the closest thing to these energies, straight line, is a trajectory, a rotation around an attractor or through an attractor. But yet, then I explained from its point of view, all these things that I just said are true, but also what's true is that it's trapped and the space particle is actually moving around the particle. So say you have a particle, a base particle, which is nothing we know of, but I'm saying it's a Planck size, and that Planck-sized particle, Planck. It's a building block, could be a plank or a brick. Anyway, so Planck size. The white, I was noticing that since I realized that we're in this black hole and our reality is formed, basically all the stuff that we have in our reality is what you might imagine as a white hole. Though the explanation of a white hole is very different than what I'm talking about. But I was saying that since the other white hole really isn't real or possible, the real white hole is our manifested matter. Our reality is what's bulging out, what's being dumped out of the black hole into the space particle is the white hole. It's just defined differently. Our reality is connected to the white hole, connected to the black hole. Inflation and all of its results is the white hole. So inflation is when the space particle was filling up. It didn't fill up in point A, point B, or from the middle of, and bulge outward. It just filled up. When it fills up uniformly. And this is a known fact. Like when you blow up a balloon, and this gets into another aspect that I have to go into later. Anyway, the V particle path in the black hole is completely described by probabilities. Those paths are out of phase with our space, and the collapse of the wave function is the manifestation of a particle. And that is a collision between a V particle that forms within the interface of the Higgs field between us and the black hole's superposition. It's not really a collision, but a partnership. A moment when two out-of-phase times coincide. It's page 33. And since no time passes before the next collision, the update is smooth and not clunky. I think this is, I'll just read on here. If there was no wave function, there would be a halting problem, and that problem is dividing an infinitely divisible item like space. The limit likely is Planck distance, or they're called Planck length. I called it Planck distance, which is kind of not specific. I should say Planck length, or some aspect of it. The unique pathway through the Planck limit. path particle. So if an infinitely small particle, and you have the, let's say the Planck limit is this square, right? And so then, if the particle that's going through into the collision where there's a particle formation, two coinciding energies like electromagnetic collide and a particle forms, if the trajectories of these particles are smaller than the Planck length, then it becomes a halting problem. Like anything that is not going to be duplicated. So I find that interesting. That means that of anything that exists would not ever be duplicated in a multiverse or something like that. It would be completely preposterous, impossible. It would never happen. But I can't prove that. But it's a possibility. This creates a fingerprint on life and ensures that you are unique, priceless, important, and free will. A system that you did not devise. One of many already existing proofs of this is that particles emerge briefly into existence. Different subject, really. I kind of bounced right there, but oh well. Proofs of this is that particles that emerge briefly into existence and then out of existence. Because in the black hole, the diameter of the V photon would, under the right conditions, and does travel back in time. In comparison to our time, not violating Albert Einstein's max speed, is the speed of light in the black hole, the constant speed of light proportionally the same from its point of view. The V particle, the space-time wave function, are the same thing, but combined in our space-time the moment they coincide, it forms a particle like a photon. Space-time is a horizontal, and V space-time or V particles travel vertically. I say this because of formations and rules of science, like a planet rotates and rings appear around the equator like rings of Saturn, and particles rotate around the equator, and energy is the magnetic field. I know you might say, how dare you, there is no magnetic field in the black hole. I know, trust me, I know. Actually, there is a magnetic field in there, but it's shielded out. But there are magnetrons, stars. So, if those are black holes, then there would be magnetic fields in some black holes, possibly. I know, but it doesn't matter. It looks like base particles, but there is magnetic fields in the black hole, but no magnetic poles. Also, you can tell me if that's a known thing or not about magnetrons. I think it's called a magnetron. Megator. It's a star, a magnetic star. Let's see, what does it say? It says, base particles assemble themselves into V larger particles in the black hole, at least they act like it. Which means that though the base particle is what makes up all the particles in the black hole, it's as if a bigger particle, a complex particle, say like a photon or an atom, or a proton, or what, an electron's supposed to be a base particle, but what's its size in comparison to the Planck length? That I don't know. Albert Einstein wins again. With corpuscular time, E equals mc squared remains, and that in the quantum realm, from within light's point of view, it notices nothing new, but its speed relative to ours is superposition, and inflation is reunitization of space and time diameters, I said, or dimensions, or it's reunitized. So I put It's kind of a silly equation, I guess, but it's basically virtual energy equals virtual mass times virtual light speed squared in the black hole. And in our time, it's E equals mc squared. In any normal reunitized space, E equals mc squared would notice nothing from its own point of view because the diameter of a photon has changed. Apparently, the Higgs field interfaces the two because the diameter is set to the strength of the mass. And the centrifugal force of the V particle at near infinite, I put that, but it's not infinite, it's a rate that causes an equilibrium. Rotation, at infinite rotation, finds a balance of infinitely different sizes. So yeah, you could, in black holes, there could be infinitely different speed sizes. It's tough to imagine. This could be the universe. I don't really like this diagram I made, but it's got like space particles, and then these are like the black holes,